Mr. President, it has come to my attention that you have told a few lies while campaigning for office.
Who, me? What the hell are you talking about?
Well, I have quite a list. Shall I start with the small ones or the whoppers?
As a matter of fact, I never tell a lie.
Oh come on, Mr. President. We all know that's not true.
Well, name one.
On May 8th, 2007, you said 10,000 had died. In a tragedy in Kansas. 10,000 people died, an entire town destroyed. In the speech to 500 people packed into a sweltering Richmond art studio for a fundraiser. Well, Mr. President, the death total was 12.
Ah, well, I must have read my notes wrong. But people did die.
On May 10th, 2007, you botched your facts in a speech criticizing the U.S. auto industry for investing in bigger and faster cars while foreign competitors invested in more fuel-efficient technology. That must explain why you, the Illinois senator and presidential candidate, owned a Hemi-powered V8 Chrysler 300C.
Obviously it's Chrysler's fault that I bought a big 5.7-liter engine from them.
In 2007, Mr. Obama, you told Illinois college students that you supported eliminating criminal penalties for marijuana use or possession. But, last fall during a nationally televised presidential debate, you hesitantly raised your hand and joined with most of your Democratic rivals to declare that you opposed decriminalizing marijuana.
Oh well, I was younger then, and I did use some, and I needed to get it.
On the 1st of December, 2007, you said, I am not running because I'm trying to fulfill some long-held plan. The one thread that remains consistent throughout your life is your teachers, mentors and friends' recollection of your single-minded pursuit of high political office.
Oh well, you can't blame a guy who wants to get ahead.
On December 22, 2007 you said, I've always been a Christian. You Illinois Democrat responded, I have never practiced Islam. But in your autobiography, Dreams from My Father, you mentioned studying the Quran. You were enrolled in two Jakarta schools as a Muslim. Your teacher Tyne Hayuri said that she remembered that you had studied Mengaji, recitation of the Quran. Classmate Bernie Amiris described you as being a very devout Muslim.
I'm not a Muslim, but I did study the Quran, so what? You are white and studying me, do that make you black?
In February 2008, as Senator McCain has pointed out, Obama, you promised to use public funding in the general election if the Republican candidate would do so also. Well, McCain agreed to it, but then Obama, you wanted to back out of the deal.
After all, when you raise $300 million, well, what's a little untruth between the waited for one and his people?
On March 7, 2008, Obama, you say you don't take money from DC lobbyists and special interest PACs. But 14 of your top 20 contributors employed lobbyists that year, spending a total of $16 million to influence the federal government in the first 6 months of 2007.
Well, the lobbyists did not give me the money directly.
On March 14, 2008, in one of the biggest lies ever told, Obama, you say, you vehemently condemn the words of your pastor and mentor, Reverend Jeremiah A. Wright, an official member of your campaign, as a member of your African American Religious Leadership Committee. Obama, you say you never witnessed or heard these statements before. Later, in a cover your ass speech, Obama, you even admit you heard the Rev's despicable words.
I did hear those words, but at the time I did not listen to what he was saying.
During your campaign for the presidency and since, Obama, you repeatedly assured us that you would protect Medicare against cuts, but you now press for passage of bills that include savage cuts in Medicare.
Well, things change, and now with the health care, we need to cut health, or rather aid that's wasted on older, rather not spent too wisely.
To obtain passage of your first stimulus bill, Obama, you assured us that 90% of the jobs created would be in the private sector, but as you well know, most of them were to be in the public sector.
Well, we need to hire some government workers to press ahead and oversee the job market.
Obama, you criticized the size of George Bush's deficit and promised to stop deficit spending if elected, But you have already quadrupled the size of the deficit you objected to and recklessly continue new federal spending in the trillions.
As we all know, we have to spend money to create wealth. Take your own budget, spend like there is no tomorrow, and you will have more.
When campaigning Obama, you criticized bills before the Congress that were too long for anyone to be able to read and promised to stop that. But the bills you have been backing throughout your 2 years are infinitely longer, 2,000 plus pages, than the ones you criticized.
The Congress passed those bills. I just signed them.
As a candidate Obama, you promised an end to the corruption of earmarks and pork, but in the bills you have supported, there have been more and bigger earmarks than ever before.
Now, I can't help that. I need to sign them, no matter what is in them.
As a candidate Obama, you promised that you would make sure that there was always enough time for the public to read legislation before it was enacted, but you have done exactly the opposite, repeatedly pressing for even faster passage of even longer bills.
Nancy Pelosi said, we have to pass them, so we can see what's in them.
As a candidate Obama, you met fears that you would be a tax and spend liberal by promising, emphatically, and repeatedly, that those earning under $200,000 would see no increase in their taxes of any kind, but you then urged passage of a healthcare bill that breaks that pledge in many different ways, and your unrestrained increase in federal spending makes more tax increases inevitable.
It's for their own good. It's not free, just almost free. Besides, they need it, whether they want it or not.
As a candidate Obama, you promised bipartisanship and an end to partisan bickering, but in a display of especially ruthless partisanship your allies have shut Republicans out of all key meetings on your health care initiative, with the unprecedented result that domestic legislation of historic importance garnered not a single Republican vote in the Senate.
I have offered them to join in on the passage of my health care, but we had to pass it in a hurry. We did not want to wait to see what it would cost.
Obama, you had promised that you would not sign a health care bill that would add one dime to the federal deficit, but the bill now adds trillions of new federal spending, offset only by new sources of revenue that are both uncertain and more properly seen as adding to the already existing deficit.
Well, we have to spend it now. We can worry about the deficit later.
Obama, you promised that your cap-and-trade legislation would create jobs, but its massive tax increases will certainly hobble the economy and destroy jobs, while green jobs in significant numbers can at best be hoped for, but never promised.
Green is money, what more do you want?
Obama, UHVE just as often assured the public that under his health plan everyone will be able to keep their current doctor, but many are certain to lose their doctors when Obamacare's large cuts in Medicare funding induce more doctors to withdraw from Medicare coverage, as they also would were employers to transfer patients to a public option to save money.
I have to say, if employers change policy, then that's not my problem.
As a candidate, Obama, you promised that Guantanamo would be closed by January 1, 2010, but it is still open.
No one wants to take them. Not my problem.
As a candidate, Obama, you promised that your administration, unlike your predecessors, would be so transparent that TV cameras, C-SPAN, would be there for key deliberations. But an unprecedented level of secrecy prevailed as the final stages of Obamacare were negotiated behind closed doors and kept so secret that even the Senate Majority Whip admitted that he had no idea what was going on. Requests for Obama to honor the promise of C-SPAN cameras are being ignored.
I had to get this done quickly. I had no time for cameras.
Obama, you assured us that your health plan would never ration care, or pull the plug, on grandma, but the legislation you backed sets up panels to make crucial decisions on when to withhold care, and it makes such deep cuts in Medicare that rationing is inevitable.
Maybe so, but I needed this done to get it passed.
This is an extraordinary record of serial mendacity. One or two instances might charitably be regarded as rash promises later regretted, or as the wishful thinking of someone who had not thought through the implications of what you were saying. But when it happens again and again, and my instances are by no means exhaustive, only one judgment seems possible, this is the record of a habitual, shameless liar, a man who will say anything to get what he wants. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, goes the old saying.
I believe that I can solve any problem with a speech. but I really do not care whether what I say is true or not, nor do I feel any responsibility to honor the assurances and promises I make.
As a result, this nation is now in a position where it cannot believe a word that he says, and that amounts to an unprecedented crisis of confidence in the presidency. Democratic government will atrophy if we allow lying on this scale to count as the business as usual at politics. When will the press and the Congress hold him accountable?